What are we doing today, Simon?
We're here to fit a decoder into this because the decoder's died.
Yes.
We've got a new one.
The decoder failed in this model a little while ago, so it needed a new decoder anyway. And we thought, well, if we're getting a new decoder, why don't we get a sound-equipped one?
With a stair life capacitor, because another thing it did was cut out a lot.
So we've been back to the good people at YouChoos, and we've got a sound decoder for it, and we're going to install that today. So, welcome back to Workbench Wednesdays. Simon's Train Adventures! You've got in the loco servicing cradle. This was one of the very first locos I ever chipped with a DCC decoder. It's fairly easy to take apart. There's a screw at each end that fastens the chassis into the body. So I think it's just those two screws.
Please can I do the honest of the other end?
There's the other screw in the little box. I think it should now just come straight apart as easy as that. And there is the original decoder. This might predate the socket, but instead of cutting the wires, it's got a PCB that you can solder to. So I think I'm going to have to fire up the soldering iron. Okay, well, I've decided I didn't want to chop off the plug from the decoder this time, so we've just made a quick visit to our local model shop, the Berkshire Dolls House Company, also known as the Twyford Model Shop, to me at least.
We bought this.
We did find a second-hand Hogwarts Express coach, which we've picked up for our Hogwarts Express set, but I also managed to get one of these, which is an 8-pin decoder harness. So I'm going to wire that into the loco, and then we're going to plug the decoder into that so I don't have to chop the plug off it. Okay, we've got our decoder, new coder, the speaker, and stay alive capacitor. I'm confident that the speaker and capacitor will fit inside the front of the model here. I'm not quite sure how we're going to fit the decoder in yet, but we'll find a way. But the first job is to install the 8-pin harness onto this little bit of circuit board here, so we can then test the decoder, make sure everything works before we start putting it all together. Okay, we've tinned all those ends. Oh, that's interesting.
The number on the new one.
Grey and orange to the motor. We've installed the decoder harness into the loco, and now we're going to plug in the decoder and see if it works.
Should not have said that.
Easy. Okay, we've got it mocked up. We've got the decoder plugged into our new harness, and it's time for a test. Simon, would you fire up the sound? We have sound. That's a good start. Give us a little whistle. Wonderful. Let's just check the motor runs. Oh yeah. Alright, sounds great. Stop it before it runs away with its own decoder. Right, now we're going to make sure that all fits back inside and put it all back together. Okay, we've actually taken the body apart now. We've got it in two separate sections here to try and make space for the decoder. Fitting the speaker and capacitor in is dead easy, but the decoder's a bit bigger than the one we've taken out. So this requires a little bit more thought, but there is space in there and we'll get it in somewhere, and I'll show you how when I've worked it all out. Great news, having taken it all apart, I actually managed to get the decoder inside the front of the boiler, which is wonderful because it means I'm not going to have to start sawing up the back here to try and fit it in the cab or under the cab. So I think these two parts can fit very easily at the front here, above the plates here. So hopefully it should all go back together a treat. Now, let's find out. I think this is how it's going to go. We've got the capacitor black tacked into the bunker space, and now we've got the decoder itself and its speaker in the boiler space at the front. We had to swap the speaker for a slightly smaller one to make it fit, which is a shame, but I think it's now going to go all back together. So let's find out. Just showing you that while we've got this apart, we've decided to glue some footplate crew in it, so it'll now have driver and fireman, which is nice. And it's all back together! Decoder and speaker in the front, plug sticking out to plug in, got crew in there, you can't quite see at the moment, but they're there, and stay alive socket in the bunker at the back.
So neat.
So neat. I think it's probably the neatest installation I've done. So we're just going to plug it all up, screw all the chassis back on, and give it a good old run. It's all back together. Simon, shall we test it?
Sure.
Do the honours. Ooh, lovely whistle. Excellent. Let's have a look at all the different sounds it makes. Here's all the different sounds it can make. Quite lots of range there. Let's hear whistle 4, Simon, function 18. Whistles are always my favourite.
18?
18. Oh, that's a lovely whistle, that is. Great. I don't know about you, Simon, but I think, well, we'll reprogram it onto the right number and then it's time for a running session, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Like and subscribe. It doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, yeah. Give us a toot, Simon. Give us a whistle. Give us a toot. Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
What do you think?
Very happy with that. Once again, it was a lot more fiddly to get everything inside than I'd anticipated, and it took a lot of jiggery and a lot of pokery. But it's all in, and it makes a lovely noise, and it's got a loco crew in the cab now, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. So I hope you're enjoying watching it run around the layout. We'll give you a few more shots of it running.
Before we end the video.
Enjoy.
It doesn't get much better than that.